and we should be live on Facebook. Hi everybody, welcome to our weekly video. I'm Sami, Director of Education at T3 Live. I hope you're doing well. We're going to do what we always do, which is go over the market and go over some swing ideas for next week. Before we start, as always, of course, a standard required disclaimer to let you know that trading is risky and that whatever we discuss today is for educational purposes only. Also, if you'd like to download a copy of my free ebook, link for that is in the description. What you have also in the description is a link to register for my open house next week. So I invite you to trade with me for 5 days for free on the virtual trading floor all of next week with just one click to register. So first link in the description below the video. But with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. If you find benefit in today's video and you'd like to help support our channel, please be sure to hit the like button. And if you have any questions, reach out to us, info@t3live.com. Again, info@t3live.com. We're going to go over the market and then we'll go over the swing ideas for next week. All right, let's do that. First, the market. The market is really difficult. As you know, I've been coming on, I come on every week and I tell you what my bias, my game plan is. For next week, it's going to be tough because I can always say something like, oh, I'm going to be bullish, I'm going to be bearish. But I always want to tell you the truth. I always want to share with you my objective observation of the market. Obviously, the Qs represents the NASDAQ. It's the tracking ETF for the NASDAQ 100, the top 100 stocks in the NASDAQ, and that accounts for 99% of the NASDAQ capitalization. So it's the NASDAQ, basically, you can say. All out bullish at the all-time high. It made a new all-time high close on Thursday. Friday we had a small gap down, as you can see, but still the NASDAQ is all out bullish. The SPY is breaking down. The SPY is the top 500 companies in the US, basically. And it's much more, it's not just technology, it's banking, it's a whole bunch of other companies, right? Represents the economy, basically, all the different industries, unlike the NASDAQ, which is mostly the tech stocks and healthcare, but mostly tech. IWM, the Russell 2000, the small cap stocks, is also a little bit breaking down. So which way is the market going to go next week? Which is it going to be bullish going forward? Are we going to be bearish? I don't really know. It's a wait and see kind of a market right now, only because of that conflict, that divergence between the NASDAQ and the other two indexes, the SPY and the IWM. So the SPY and the IWM, that's not bullish what happened on Friday. The gap down, and we haven't broken under the, we haven't broken the uptrend. We'd have to break the pivot. But we broke the 20, we broke under the last trend. You can say we broke the trend line, we broke the 20 MA. That's pretty bearish. All of that is bearish. The IWM, similar. We can look at the larger time frames also. Still at the highs, but it's turning a little bit bearish. The IWM and the SPY. The Qs is at the all-time high. Check out the the mega cap tech stocks. Apple broke out, okay? Google all-time high. Facebook, we actually in the newsletter we have all three. Apple, Google, and Facebook. Long. Facebook from here, Google I don't know where from. Apple from here somewhere, I'm not sure. So the exact entry, but they're all well in the money. But the point is, they're at the all-time high. I mean, especially Google, Facebook, and then Microsoft at the all-time high. Amazon had a really nice pop into the prior high though. Tesla's starting to look a little bit bullish. And not only that, but you have all these software stocks. We have MDB, also swing long. From here, we did it as a 1, 2, 3 in the newsletter. And boom. Not just MDB. Look at DocQ. Look at all these, a lot of these tech software stocks are also doing really well. And so we have that divergence, as I said, between the NASDAQ and the tech stocks and the rest of the economy, the rest of the companies. So we will probably find out early on next week whether we're going to be bullish or bearish. Like maybe even on Monday. We'll find out. We'll be able to tell whether the SPY is going to go back up and the IWM, or the Qs, follow suit to the downside. It's not usually an easy environment when you have divergence like this. There are only 2 times when I feel it leads to two conditions, 2 scenarios that lead to a difficult trading, choppy, sloppy trading environment with not much follow through. One of those times is when you have divergence like this, clear divergence. So we'll find out next week, I think, which way the market is headed. But for right now, let's go over the swing ideas, okay? The swing ideas were copied and pasted for you, for your convenience, in the description of the video below. So you don't have to type them up. Bullish and bearish. Of course, gold broke down really badly. I mean, that's a real crash or break in gold. That's GLD. GDX is probably worse. And so I have a couple of gold stocks on the list here that I like short. A lot of them are already gone. You can't short them. It's too far gone. But I have a couple that I do like. USO even started to break. Maybe not. USO is still okay, I guess. But I saw that a lot of the other commodity stocks are breaking down. That's why I thought USO may be breaking down. Actually, USO had a little bit of a breakout failure. So it's going to be an interesting week next week as to what ends up happening. A lot of the long plays that I had, a lot of them, the tech stocks went with the NASDAQ, and with the other stocks, I had to take a stop on them or had to jump out because they started going against me. So, you got that mixture, and I prefer to see uniformity. I prefer to know whether it's all out bullish or all out bearish, not 50-50 like it's been. So keep that in mind in terms of the swing ideas for next week. But here they are. ADVM, like it as a breakout over 380 or so. That's the hourly chart, and that's the daily. So this is a base breakout. Looks good. We played a couple last week, gray, which was disappointing because it was up 42% in the post market. Ended up gapping like 30, 20, something like this, but it was actually up to 850. So ended up taking, so it's the same kind of play as the ADVM. Is a transition A, and ended up getting out at the open. So there's gray, CCIX, CCXI, CCIV. No, CCXI. It just took a while to come up. Is it also a transition A play, but it's already an open position. So this one looks higher if it can take out about 380 or so. Stop under 350 on the ADVM. AKBA is also another transition A play. So notice how the 20 MA is coming from below, and now it's going to break out if it can take out, I think 380 or so, 378 to be exact, off the weekly chart. So 378 over this bar's high. I like it higher, okay, on the AKBA. Of course, they need to reach that price. People sometimes reach out to me and say, why shouldn't I buy it at 368? That's lower than 378. I'd save myself 10 cents. Because it may not be able to take out the resistance. We want stocks to prove to us that they're bullish first before jumping in. So we always want to see them take out resistance before jumping in if it's a breakout. AGRX is a weekly 1-2-3 pattern. A 1-2-3 is when you have an igniting bar, which is what we had 2 weeks ago, right? This bar. And then last week was a resting bar, narrow range bar, and then if it takes it out, it'll be a 1-2-3 long. Okay, remember the MDB I showed you? We were in long, but it's the same thing. It's a 1-2-3 after a tier 1 professional gap up right here. This day, doji bar, igniting bar, doji bar, and then continuation. And you get in here, stop under the doji bar. So the ARGX, I'd play it off the weekly. Long over this bar, stop below it. So it's a $11, $12 stop. It's not a tight stop at all. It's a longer term play. The ATRA is a monthly buy setup. Deep pullback, but right to that curling 20 MA on the monthly chart. So I like it higher. It just needs to take out 1550. 1550 or so. Okay, so I'd like to see it. Yeah, that's 1550. Like to see it take out 1550, and stop one could use 1484 as a stop. Okay, on the ATRA, target 1 would be 1650, the 200 MA, the red line. Target 2 is about 18, which is that prior high, exactly 18 bucks. On the ATRA, AUTL is already an open position. Played it as a breakout here, so when it broke out that day, got in it. I'm sorry, not that day, this day, when it broke out this day. So got in it. Now it has a buy setup, so it looks good if it can clear 781, okay, as a buy setup on the AUTL. BKI is a monthly buy setup similar to the ATRA. It's a deep pullback, and it's got a buy setup. I like that reversal bar that we got. We do need to clear the high first. The problem is if I waited for it to clear the high, it'd be too big of a stop. So I like it over, just over the space, right here. Okay, over the base, stop right here. Target really up there, huge target. If it can, you know, clear the high and get going. CDNS is a 1-2-3 setup on the daily chart. So long over 131.88. It's an expensive stock. So I wouldn't put the stop at 131.89. I'd give it more room to more like 132.01 or something like that. Stop under 129.88. It's a 1-2-3. Okay, target 1 probably the bar's high. Target 2 is where the stock gapped from, that resistance area. So you know, somewhere around here, 140 or so. The targets are often you know, it's a zone. It's an area where you want to get out. It's not an exact price. IKT had a big gap down last week, and now has it's either a short as a continuation. If it breaks under this bar's low, under 282, it would be a continuation down, or if it goes back above $3, it would be a gap fade, so as a long. So I play these a lot. GOEV I think is a symbol. No, GEVO maybe. Let's see. No, I thought it was GOEV honestly that I played. It's the same kind of pattern, but I can't recall the symbol yet at the moment. So this is, I like it higher over $3 as a gap fade to go back up. Okay, LULU is a 1-2-3 on the daily chart. So long over 351.30 by 343.49. Long, and LULU is also a monthly buy setup. So this could be held long term. But will it get all the way up to the highs if the market remains bullish? Sure. If the market tanks, it won't. So, you know, if the market starts to turn bearish, I would treat it only as a swing, meaning after it triggers, I would go bar by bar in terms of management. If the market turns back up and turns bullish, then one can give it more room so as to not get shaken out. That's the LULU. MBIO is a monthly buy setup. Okay, see that pullback and the rising curling 20 on the monthly, and it's also a daily buy setup. Deep pullback, but I like the fact that it will be a break of a double top on the hourly chart. So if it clears, a double top is bearish. Clearing or breaking something that's bearish is bullish. Does that make sense? Breaking or breaking a double top, breaking a bearish setup, failing on a bearish setup is bullish. So if it clears 355 long over this bar's high, over these two bars highs, stop under the bottoming tails. Target about $4. It's a daily buy setup on the MBIO. And then last but not least is the NMG. I've never heard of it before until it gapped down on yesterday. So I like it over 755 by 720 long. Okay. It needs to clear the base, stop under it, and target is the gap fill. It has plenty of room. In terms of the shorts, we got even a longer list to go over. AG and AGQ are gold stocks. A lot of the gold stocks are too far gone, and so these two, sure, dropped a lot, but Friday was an inside day, so that allows me to get in it as a 1-2-3 setup. Like I said, a lot of them. I mean, gold is the biggest probably. A gold stock. Okay, this bar wasn't an inside bar, so I couldn't really do it as a 1-2-3 AEL nor setup. I mean, what are the AEM? You know, the biggest stocks. So they don't have setups, but these two do have setups. So I like it short under 16.13, stop over 16.75. Target would be target 1 about 15 bucks. Target 2 would be the 200 around 14 or so. On the AGQ is similar. Target 1, this pivot, which is about 42, and target 2 is about 40 bucks. Same exact setup. On the AGQ and the AG gold. BDTX been basing for a long time. So I like it under the base, stop above it. Okay, under 1230, stop over 1360 or so. KSS is already an open position. We did it as a 1, 2, 3 right here. Okay. Now I accidentally, for some reason, closed the position. I don't know how. I must have lowered the stop to this bar's high. I should have kept the stop over the base for some reason. But I got back in it, and I like it lower all the way down to at least the 200 MA on the daily chart. But if you look at the monthly, the weekly is breaking down. If you look at the monthly, it looks lower to like 40 bucks or so on the KSS. So I do like it lower still under this bar's low, under 50.30. OCGN had a really bearish gap down. When a stock is unable to fill the gap quickly to go right back up after a gap down, that's bearish. So I like to short these stocks, especially if they're basing at the lows. This is basing at the low, but not exactly at the absolute low. It would have made my life easier. If it did, it would have made my decision easier. So it's not exactly basing right here at 6 bucks. It's basing at 650, around 650. But I like it under $6, stop over 680, and the target, who knows? It has room all the way down to 2 bucks on the OCGN. Okay, people think, oh, from 6 to 2, it happens all the time. I mean, I see it every week. Take a look. I mean, it was a $1, $2 stock, and in a few days, look at this. It was a $1.75, and then 3, 4, 5 days later, it was an $18 stock, almost $19 stock. And literally 1, 2, 3, 4 in 5 days. Literally 5 days, it went from $1.72 or $1.80 to 19. So it wouldn't be far-fetched for it to come all the way back down to 2. Okay, let's say, you know, okay, 2 would be ambitious. Well, what about to here? That's doable, and then maybe target 2 would be 2 bucks. But I'm not ready to do the OCGN on Monday. If you're a subscriber to my newsletter, obviously you know which ones I picked for my own account and for the newsletter. So feel free to log on to your T3 Live account and take a peek. If you'd rather wait for the newsletter to hit your inbox, it'll be in your inbox before 8 a.m. on Monday, giving you over an hour and a half to put in the orders if you'd like to follow along. PLUG and a bunch of other, especially clean energy stocks, I regretted not buying when they bottomed. Now the PLUG plug probably was hard. Like I don't really see a good setup on it, but I could tell they bottomed because if you look at the monthly chart, a huge drop from 75 bucks all the way to 18. But look where they landed. Look where it landed. It landed right at the 20. There's a bunch of them like that. Maybe FCell also is FCell, but I'd have to open up the chart. It's squished, you know, the same exact thing, dropped a huge amount right to the 20. I mean, there's so many of them. Solo, I don't know, right to the 20. EH, a huge drop. The 20 is not coming up because it's not a very, on the monthly, it's not a very old stock. It's just a year and a half old, but the 20 was right here. Okay, if you were to put the 20 on the monthly, or let me just check the weekly. Okay, so a lot of them have doubled and tripled already. So I feel bad I didn't really play them, but they might have a sell setup now, especially on the plug. See that 20 MA is now above price, starting to curl and point down. If you look at the weekly, that's not a bad sell setup. I'm not expecting it to go all the way down to 18, but that's not a bad sell setup. So I like it short under, if it breaks, 28.40. Stop would be, the tightest stop would be 30.41. The stock moves a lot. 28.40 by 30.41, that's 2 bucks. Look at that, how it topped out, by the way. Look at that really bearish topping tail bar or narrow body bar. It wasn't even a topping tail bar. Now, it wasn't an easy call because it went back up just a few days later, but then it rolled over. Okay, it crashed from there. Okay, so that's the plug. QUMO is already underway, meaning should already be in it, but it still looks lower. So I thought I would add it to the list because it still looks lower and one can just fall in, so to speak. Stop, because it's not too late either. Stop would be over 325 on the QUMU. RAMP had a gap down and is basing bearishly at the bottom of that wide range igniting bar. Had a breakdown bar. It didn't have a gap. Breakdown that took out 4 or 5 months worth of basing. Every single person that bought it in the last 4 or 5 months is underwater. So as soon as it starts to break down, I predict these people will start to get out. The ones that didn't get out on that day, they will start to get out, and then that would lead to further selling. So I like it short under the base, stop above the base. RLX is weak, under the base, stop above the base. The problem with the RLX is the support below. So it doesn't have a lot of room. It doesn't have what we call a tradable void. Not much of a tradable void. And then you're already at support. That's about $1, I guess. So it's not too bad. And then maybe it goes through it. If the market turns bearish, it'll just slice through it, I'm sure. So that's the RLX. SEEL, check it out. Had a really bearish gap down this day, May 17th. Got killed for 2 days, dropped hard, and is basing at the bottom. What does that tell us? When a stock is basing at the absolute bottom of after a drop, it means it's lower still. So I like it, and it triggered already on Friday, but I don't think it's too late. Under $3, stop over 331, short on the SEEL. SGRA had a gap down and it's basing and it looks lower. It's actually a pretty liquid stock, like 10 million shares, 8.5 I think. Yeah, 8.5 million on Friday. That's a lot of shares. So it's liquid, even though it's low priced, and it's breaking the all-time low. So it looks lower. And it triggered already on Friday. I didn't catch it, didn't see it, but it looks good just under Friday's low. Under 141, and then the stop is over resistance always, which is 155. VRTX already triggered. I played it after the gap down as a 1, 2, 3, but still looks lower if it can break the green bar's low, which is Thursday's low, under 185.64, stop over 189.17 on the VRTX. It looks lower all the way to 165. I'll show you. That's 165. This bar's low. So it looks all the way lower, all the way to about $20, $22. The last one is WDH. Had a breakdown on Thursday, had a narrow range resting bar on Friday. So it's a 1, 2, 3 at the all-time low. Under this bar's low, short. If it breaks under it, stop would be 1 or 2 cents above it. All right, that's my entire list for Monday. I scan every day and recreate the list, okay? So I do some scanning and I put together a new list every day, and from that list I make my picks. I don't play every item on the list because that's too many. It would be hard to manage. So I pick the favorite, and as a subscriber, those are the ones that I share with you. So if you'd like to find out how to become a subscriber, a link is in the description, or reach out to us, info@t3live.com. Again, info@t3live.com. But with that said, I hope you enjoyed today's video. And again, if you did, please be sure to hit the like button. And I will talk to you next week. Take care, everybody. Don't forget about the open house next week. It's free. You can trade with me for 5 days in a row for free on the virtual trading floor. First link in the description below. Take care. Enjoy the weekend. And I will talk to you later. Ciao, everybody.